Can Sarper survive Shekinah's strict house rules on 90-Day Fiancé? I'm not so sure. Shekinah Garner and Sarper Guven have been in the 90-Day Fiancé franchise for a few years now, but I feel like I'm seeing a different side to the American reality star. Garner and Guven first appeared on 90-Day Fiancé, the other way. Their original plan was for Garner to move to Turkey to be with him. For 2 seasons, they showcased their journey on the popular spin-off as Garner adapted herself to live abroad. Plans changed though. Instead, they decided that Guven would move to America. Their plans were successful and now Guven is in America on a K-1 visa and living on Garner's terms. However, I can't help but notice how the relationship has done a 180, and I'm not sure if it's much better than it was before. The irony of the situation is astounding, and I don't understand how the couple doesn't recognize their role reversal. When Garner went to Turkey, she had a few simple requests to feel more comfortable and at home. She wanted a vanity and, more importantly, a new bed that didn't have the imprints of Guven's escapades. Garner wasn't happy when she first saw Guven's apartment and his disinterest in making accommodations for her. She often had an issue with everything, from his apartment to his career to his clientele. Yet, now that they are in America, they seem to be facing the same problems, as Guven is restricted to a tiny apartment with no space to themselves. Shekinah Garner didn't make real accommodations for Sarper Guven. Garner's home is also where she works, so rules had to be laid out to Guven. So this is the kitchen, but we can't really cook, like, food here because I'm seeing clients and I don't want the place smelling like food, she explained. Stunned, Guven responded, not cooking in a house? What the fuck? I mean, are we living in a hotel room? He would later add. Everywhere is full of her equipment. Where will we live, however? Garner also felt like her priorities were put to the side for Guven's comfort. Now their dynamic has shifted, and I can't help but notice the irony in their relationship. With Guven being in America, now it's his turn to live in Garner's turf and follow her rules. Currently, he seems open-minded and willing to be flexible, but after seeing Garner's cute home, I can understand his concerns. She hasn't made any accommodations for him. Her living space is also her workspace, and she's made it clear that Guven needs to be gone while she works. Overall, I think Garner missed the mark and failed to plan for the transition appropriately. 90-Day Fiancé's Shekinah may not be serious about Sarper. On top of the double standards, Garner has some major concerns about getting married in 90 days. Garner seems to flip back and forth about her feelings and connections with Guven often. Earlier in the relationship, she discovered he had slept with over 200 women, kept some of their knickknacks and recorded his conquests in a black book. His potential to cheat was not the only concern. Garner was also worried about their lack of trust and other issues that seemed to be giving her cold feet. While I understand her concerns and getting cold feet is common, I also can't help but wonder what she's been thinking all along. They have worked so hard to get to where they are today, and if they postpone the wedding, they might lose everything they've worked for. In the last few episodes, she's revealed in her confessional that she doesn't think 90 days is enough time for them to re-establish trust, which makes me wonder. Then, what was the point in bringing Guven to America and pushing for the K-1 visa like she did? In the end, I'm really shocked by the turn of events. Sarper and Shekinah have swapped places, and while their role reversal is certainly interesting to absorb, I'm confused by their dynamic. Guven has a lot of restrictions. In my opinion, he has more restrictions than Garner had in his home. Additionally, the couple have been in the franchise for years. They're well aware of how the K-1 visa works, so for Garner to have doubts this close to their wedding day is raising more red flags. Overall though, I'm interested to see how their dynamic plays out in America. 90-Day Fiancé star Sarper is learning to behave with Shekinah but happiness is low. 90-Day Fiancé, the other way couple Sarper Guven and Shekinah Garner have had quite the journey, and despite all that they've been through, they're still thankfully together. Recently, however, Guven gave an interview in which he admitted that he feels like he's been living at the extreme ends of the happiness spectrum after leaving his life in Turkey. On March 14, 2025, Guven and Garner both had a brief chat with people and shared how the two of them are adjusting to their new life in the US. Guven, a personal trainer and fitness coach, is of the view that he had a peaceful life back in Turkey, but being in the US on K-1 visa and not having a bank account or the ability to work really affects him. He went on to share his 2 cents about the whole situation in the following words. Guven has previously admitted to having a body count of nearly 3,000 women. So before he moved to the US, both Garner and Guven specifically thought that the biggest problem in their relationship would be him being monogamous. However, according to the fitness coach, that hasn't been a problem in the slightest. Sarper Guven was a relationship virgin before Shekinah Garner. Although he revealed having a body count of over 3,000 women, Guven had never been in a proper relationship with anyone before Garner. Their relationship began when they matched online, and it led Garner, who is from Los Angeles, to travel to Turkey to meet Sarper in person. As their romance deepened, Shekinah decided to relocate to Turkey to pursue the relationship further. However, challenges arose when Sarper's past and commitment issues surfaced, and caused repeated conflicts between the two of them. Despite tension, their relationship moved forward, and Sarper eventually proposed to Shekinah in Turkey, simultaneously receiving approval for his K-1 visa to the United States. Now that they're living in the US, Guven says that when things get tough for Garner,